Greetings, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Scaris, and welcome to the Transporter Room. Today, I'm beyond excited to be joined by Connor Trinneer and Dominic Keating, two dynamic talents whose on-screen chemistry and off-screen friendship have left an indelible mark on the Star Trek universe and beyond. Best known for their roles as Commander Charles Trip Tucker III and Lieutenant Malcolm Reed, respectively, on Star Trek Enterprise. These accomplished actors brought depth, humor, and humanity to the iconic sci-fi franchise. With careers spanning television, film, theater, and now podcasting, Trinneer and Keating continue to captivate audiences with their storytelling prowess and genuine camaraderie. Today, they invite fans into their world through their latest venture, The Decon Chamber, a podcast celebrating the transformative power of Star Trek and the lives it has been touched. So without further ado, let's beam them in. Hey guys, thank you for making the time to come on the show today.
Hey, Chris, pleasure. You've been reading Dominic's intros.
So I'm going.
He talked about our friendship. Don't forget that.
Yes,
he did.
Well, to give you a little insight on this, I have, yes, exactly. I have watched y'all's show religiously, as you both know, and I really do enjoy your interview style, and I like it, and that's how I've tried to do mine, is to kind of, I don't know, it's just the way I like it, and that's how I've tried to mimic my interview style with you, because the intros and all that stuff. So
you're not quite getting the English accent quite right.
Yes, exactly. I do.
It's a little tightening up, Chris.
That's nice. That's nice to know and hear. And I think that both Dom and I, listen, we never had a template for what we were going to do. We just did it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is true. The first time I remember when we were, literally thrown in at the deep end. It was like, no prep, it was like John Billings is coming in half an hour, and you got to talk for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And there it was. And
I believe me, I'm learning. You're like my 23rd interview so far, and I'm learning. Thank you. And and I just wanted to let the audience know, how we kind of met. Obviously, it was a joy for me to get to come out there in November and meet you and the entire 455 team when I got to attend the Bill Mummy recording back in November. And then 2 weeks later, we actually all got to meet again at the Creations Trek to Dallas convention, which was fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed the barbecue we had that Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, great. It was great.
Well, good.
Good.
It was very good.
Yes, I forgot that you'd come to the Bill Mummy one. That was a really fun interview, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
It was terrific. Yeah.
He was awesome to listen to. His stories, he just had great stories.
I think that anybody who Bill Mummy's a good example of this, has had the breadth of a career that exists in the way television works. He's gone from 1950s black and white and moved on to other iterations of things he did, and he's just Bill. He's that dude's an artist, and I'm a little envious.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. Because he's not just an actor. He's a musician. He's an actor. I mean, he does it all.
Sure does.
Yeah.
And he's a cool cat. I mean, along with it, he's
exactly.
He's just a cool cat.
And also doesn't carry a lot of gravitas about that,
Well, Hollywood BS about it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's been who he's been,
Yeah. That's exactly when we were all sitting out there waiting for the to go in. He just was a normal bloke.
Yeah.
He's a groovy dude.
He is. So as I have somewhat learned from you guys over the years, and what I have always liked about the shows is you don't just dive straight into all this Star Trek stuff, because I hate to say it, we've all heard that, we've all discussed it. Yes, I have to ask about it because it's a Star Trek podcast, but I do actually just want to get a little more to know a little more about y'all's background. As we've all heard, I've always wondered, like Connor, have you always had a passion for performing when you were a kid, or is it something that came on later in life?
Oh, no. None at all. It didn't happen until I was in college.
You were a
I
terrible Joseph in the nativity play. Stiff as a board.
No, I had no interest, no knowledge, no experience with any of this until I was in college and just trying to sort out what I wanted to do. I was playing football, and I wasn't happy doing that, uh, and just sort of tripped over it. And that's but when I tripped over it, I picked up that little gold piece and ran with it as fast and as hard as I could for as long as I could in terms of training. So, I came to it later, but when I got to it, I put all my eggs in one basket.
And cracked a
Ooh.
few.
And yeah, listen,
Yeah.
I keep thinking I can buy more, but they're too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. No joke. Oh my god. So Dominic, how about yourself? I was researching, and I don't know if you've always had a passion, but from what I found, and the internet could be wrong, as it usually is, but I saw that you actually you went to university and got a degree in history
Did.
originally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So were you planning on being a history professor, or what happened there?
Uh, it was one back in my educational sort of time period. It was just what one did. One did O levels, one did A levels, and then one went to university and read something and got a degree. What it was in wasn't necessarily particularly of import. And I was good at history. I mean, I was good at English too. It could have been English, but I was kind of better at history, and I quite liked the process of arguing historical, facts and making your own supposition about what happened. And so yeah, but I was, how old was I? 10, I think, when my prep school put on a play, and we all went auditioning for it. And the lady, Mrs. Bennett Hunter, gave me the lead part. Unbeknownst to me at that time, my mother had been an actress. I had no idea of this, so I imagine that's where the inclination slash talent might have come from. And
And your
yeah,
mother housed actors.
she did. Yeah, after my father passed away when I was 13, just before my 14th birthday. Yeah, in order to make ends meet, we rented out the top 2 floors of the house that my dad and mum owned in Leicester, and she became a theatrical landlady. She was one of the most famous theatrical landladies in the country, frankly. Patsy Power. If you worked at the Haymarket Leicester, you stayed at Patsy Power's. And I was chatting with Connor recently. I mean, I've worked with actors over the years that lived upstairs, and when I've met them, I've like, well, actually, we've met before. and they're like, what? Hmm? I did at Patsy Powers, and my name's Dominic. And they went, oh my god. We had a lot of famous people live upstairs over the years because the Haymarket was a good tryout place before going to the West End. So a lot of big musicals that got revamped started their life at the Haymarket and then went on to London. Yeah, we had some quite big names staying upstairs, and so it was sort of, I don't know. I mean, I graduated, and all of a sudden, it's not the summer holidays anymore. And the UCL where I went to University College in London to read history, and they had a wonderful theatre next door, the Collegiate. It was called. It's now called the Bloomsbury. And I did a lot of plays there over the 3 years that I was at university there. And yeah, I ummed and ahed for a good while after graduating. It was a big step to, I should have, I don't know. I mean, I imagine, I was, what was afforded me was I was meant to be a vocational man. I should have gone on to read law or,
Well, that's
a
really
lot.
like that's kind of how the history degree leads you into law, right?
Exactly. It just basically it shows that you spent 3 years, you didn't flunk out, and you got a certain level of intellectual competence that would then lead to something else. A lot of my friends at that time, you either went into the city to do finance, or a lot of people, friends of mine, got into what was then the burgeoning boom of advertising. The Saatchi brothers were going crazy in London, and a lot of production money was going into commercials, and that's what a lot of people I know got into.
Okay.
Dom, the two of us in the 90s, had we done the commercials we did in the 90s now,
Oh,
Oh,
the difference between the amount of money that we
yeah,
made would be remarkable to
yeah,
even explain.
yeah, yeah. And I did
I'm
well. I mean, I was lucky with the commercials I did do. I mean, that Vidal Sassoon one, changed my bloody life. I mean, it bought me a flat in London, and I call it wash and go respectfully. And yeah, and for a non, I wasn't a famous actor then. I was just a jobbing dude around town. And there was definitely a divisional line between those who did commercials, did TV, and did film. If you were a film actor back in 1982, you didn't touch commercials. You didn't go near them. You'd be lucky.
We made a lot of money off of that.
Yeah.
Since
Now, oh God, I mean, God knows. I mean, anyone will do a commercial now, for crying out loud. There was a time when, George Clooney would only do whiskey commercials in Japan. Well, that's all over.
Oh, I know. I mean, I've seen a lot of those, actors that were in Marvel movies are doing commercials and stuff like that.
It's open season now for everyone, which I guess is a good thing. I mean, in some way, I think, yeah,
Dumb, it's money. It's all
it's
money.
money. I know, but it used to come with consequences.
You're not being paid Bruce Willis money or anybody's money in the last 20 years. It's all been changed. And for look, I'll give Tom Hardy as an example. I mean, that dude could do movie after movie and get paid whatever. And he's got Mobland. It's a limited series, 2 seasons now they committed to, but and I actually like this.
Have you seen
Mhm.
it?
The idea, no, I haven't. It
I haven't
airs,
either.
It out yet? I haven't
it
seen it out.
airs, was it last night or
Oh, was
today?
it? All right.
But my point being is you heard these, like you were saying, Nicholson was like, well, I'd never do a commercial. And the reality is that we're all just hustling to make a living.
Yeah, nowadays, yeah, that's definitely the case. It's and obviously, if they can get a name to do a commercial and they've got the money to pay them, that's doing someone else out of a job, as it were. The spokesman for Ford. I used to know a couple of the spokes guys. They'd be at the Hollywood YMCA, and that's all they did. They were the spokes guy for Chevy trucks or Ford, and they made a veritable fortune. Uh,
Dom, Mike,
all they had to do.
Mike McCall.
Mike McCall, our buddy, who is a big voiceover actor, he's made tens of
Just
millions of dollars just doing Mike McCall.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Really?
the funny
Yeah,
thing, what you just did, Dom, is so key. Is like I can do that voice,
yeah.
but it's fake.
But he just comes up with it.
But that's his voice.
It's just his voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And I remember on the episode when Michelle Hurd was on there and they were talking about the I think it was about the strike and everything, and just hearing what they were trying to basically the money they were trying to take away from everybody by doing AI. And it for someone that's not in y'all's industry, hearing that discussion. And then I actually ran into her again at another convention a few weeks later after that and got to talk to her for a few minutes. She was on fire.
Yeah, but you got to remember something. So our industry, and our industry sounds like we're sort of like weird plants or insects or some strange animal you barely see. The reality is that as a union, we're not unlike teachers, We're not unlike metal workers. We're not unlike Teamsters. There are all things challenging what we are trying to keep. And that's the reason you have a union, is that you have power within that union to say things like, well, you can't use our image in AI. You can't, we're literally just a working man's union, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no, after talking to other obviously other people at the Star Trek world at the convention, like Bonnie Gordon and Sirach and everybody. Yeah, I mean, you're just working actors. I mean, and then I heard some. Oh my
And even
god! And
that's an exaggeration.
well, exactly, because it was on Twitter or wherever. Someone was saying some about to Denise Crosby after she lost her house, and I'm sorry. I responded. I'm like, no, the people that can write those checks to replace their house is the 1%. Everybody else are out there working their off.
Yeah, I find myself, with the social media world thing, and I was having a conversation last night with my wife Jackie about this, and it used to be Twitter was something that you sent information to. Instagram, in its early iteration, was you sharing with your friends, if you wanted to, events in your life, and then you all liked those things. That's all blown completely crazy. And and I still live in the world where, like, you know what I'm gonna post? I mean, I've got stuff for our podcast that we have to post, and absolutely. But my personal life, I no offense, I don't want y'all to know.
I feel the
Unless
same way.
I don't
I'm
have
quite a
any.
private person. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no interest
Yeah.
in sharing the fact that, like, I had a turkey sandwich that was fantastic.
What about if it was in Paris?
Different. That's a good
Croque
vacation.
monsieur.
That's a
A
good
croque monsieur in Paris.
that would be
Yeah.
Even
different.
then, I still think it's a bit wanky. I do. I stopped doing it. Yeah, I had a moment there. Yeah, when I was traveling the world a bit, and I suddenly went. I thought, you're a bit of a mate. Stop
Yeah,
it. You know
right? Yeah.
why you're doing it? You're showing off. You know.
Dom, you have to look at your posts and you like your sort of
Yeah.
your home base of it and go like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really. You're a
Really?
bit of
Yeah.
a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get in social media. I
Well,
have
the
to
thing
do
to
it now.
remind oneself is whenever someone's posting from their, the honeymoon suite, they're not actually they're not having the honeymoon. They're on the phone posting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, how's
Well,
the honeymoon going? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
right. Yeah,
As you can
take your
tell from
phones
my
off
picture.
when you're seeing a concert. Don't
Yeah,
you don't have to
yeah,
record
really,
you're actually
exactly.
there.
They're watching the concert from the back of their phone. The
Right.
idiots.
Just be
hmm
there.
And another thing,
exactly. Okay.
there was a
Ooh.
show in England years ago, Grumpy Old Men, and I definitely should be auditioning for whatever version they've got now of it.
That's funny. Oh man, I stirred the pot on that one. But
Mm-mm.
so I was curious about this. If I remember correctly, Dominic, weren't you the first one out the gate to start going to conventions
Was on our
between the
cast.
two of you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen Trekkies and saw that there was another annuity and financial appendage to this job.
Hmm.
It was like, oh yeah, okay. I did 10 the first year. I was every Friday night. I was pretty much on a plane somewhere. Yeah,
Holy.
I know.
Oh
Yeah, I made
my.
a lot of money the first year. God bless. We were hot,
Oh
and
my god.
then Connor was frightened. You were a bit scared of it, really, weren't you?
Terrified. Terrified.
Terrified.
I was asked to do a convention. The first one I committed to was in Portland, Oregon, because I grew up like 45 minutes north of there in Washington, in Kelso, and I knew that my parents would come.
And hold my hand.
Seriously, I swear to God, I
Mom
mean,
would bring some PJ sandwiches.
seriously. And so I get there, and I'm brought on stage, and this is the very first time I've done a convention, and a couple of guys dressed up as Klingons, properly 6'4" meaty dudes, open the curtain for me and to go out. I think for anybody going into a convention, the real challenge for you is uh, your hour on stage. And for often, a lot of time, we were alone. You know, Nowadays it's you and me, Dom, or you, me, and Anthony, or you, me, and John, or whatever. But that was then you were on stage for an hour, and I knew that, and curtain opened and walked on stage, and it was Portland, so it was, there's enough people to be nerve-wracking. And I saw my parents there, and I
You're
just
slightly stoned.
all exactly. And I saw my parents there, and for the first 15 minutes, I swear to God, for the questions that were asked of me, I didn't leave looking at my parents the entire time. And then I slowed, but slowed up. It's not a world I'm very good at, or I would say I don't like it very much.
He's an introvert really at heart, and yeah, I'm more of the let me tell you a story kind of guy.
La da
Oh
da da
yeah.
da da
Yeah.
da.
Oh yeah. I ran it. I learned that firsthand basically back at the Dallas convention. It was the Thursday night and we all started getting there, and I introduced you or I brought you to one of our other Decon chamber members, Jen, who happens to live two houses down in Leicester from
Oh, that's right. Yes, yeah. What a
your
sweetheart.
childhood home. And oh my God, you two started just talking, and I had to leave because I couldn't understand a damn word y'all were saying because
We went all Leicester.
you did. You
She was lovely.
did.
She literally lived around the corner from my mum's old house, which much to my chagrin, I had to sell after 14 years of after she passed, and it was sort of, I don't know, dilapidated and becoming a bit of a mausoleum now. But yeah, she literally lived around the corner from it, and
She did. Or she
yeah,
does.
God bless. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
She
taken
had
home
a
from the
she
hospital.
had a wonderful weekend.
She did. She really did, and
A
she was a really
fantastic
charming
weekend.
lady.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had a great time. I mean, when I was able to, let you, to get you over there and introduce you, oh man, you got, yeah. As Connor said, awesome weekend for her and everybody else. Um, so okay, so we know you've done conventions, and I know y'all are going to be on you've already done some this year. I guess you'll be at SCLV in Chicago and probably all those. So
There's one coming up in that I've forgotten about. Where is it? In
We're going to Iowa.
Iowa, and then there's one after that too.
Iowa.
Yeah, I'd forgotten. Sarah reminded of me the other day, and it was like, oh, I didn't know. Is there
You
no?
mean
Is it?
between Vegas and Iowa, there's another one?
Yeah, there's another one. I forget where it is. Can't think.
I'm going to have to look that up
Have to
because
look
I
it
did
up.
not know that.
And then there'll be Vegas again, of course. And it's amazing how quickly they come around.
I have to go to Blackpool
Oh, you do?
Oh,
in June because last year I got COVID and couldn't do it.
oh,
Was that for Star? That's no, it's for Jason, isn't it? It is Star Trek, but for those guys.
But I already got paid for it. And now I'm like, oh Jesus, I've got to hop on a plane for 9 hours. I've never been to Blackpool though, so I'm excited about that.
well, cool. And I saw you were on the cruise. You just got back from the cruise a few weeks ago, about a month ago now, probably.
Yeah,
How was that?
it's great. I mean, they're always great. It's there's a similarity to the whole thing. I mean, it's like what you listen when you. I think as a fan, when you go to something for the first time, you're kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Like you go to Vegas or you go to Comic Con or something. Then the next time you go, you're like, I get it. And that it's also the same with the actors who are a part of that. And so yeah, it was fun. It's always fun. I did. a reading. John Delancey does readings. I think he's done them the entire time that he's been on the cruises, and I've done a couple of those. I love doing them. I mean, you get your like actors' chops out there a little bit, doing stage reading, but otherwise, we're all going to be there next year. And the wonder of these cruises. This is no advertisement, by the way. I just want to say this. It's the best way to experience a Star Trek fan talent environment. I do
Okay.
believe that.
Well, I'm looking
It
forward
probably
to it.
is. Yeah, I'd second. I've only done one last year, and I think I mean, obviously, it's quite a lot of money, but I don't suppose it's that much. I suppose it's a bit cheaper than going to Vegas, but
Well,
you're
it's
you know,
a 7-day convention, as it were.
and the actors are freely milling around, and depending on who they are. But I certainly, you'll catch me up in the Crow's Nest bar, and you can just sit down next to me and start chatting.
Well, I've already booked I bought my tickets already for the cruise for next year.
It's going to be fun. It's our 25th anniversary, I think, isn't it? Is that the year? Yeah. I don't know whether they're going to make a thing of that, but
No, they're going to make it somebody else's 40th anniversary.
any
Yeah.
anniversary but
But
ours.
ours.
Yeah. It's the 60th, but it's y'all's 25th.
Yeah. Oh, it's Discovery's 10th anniversary.
Chris,
Oh
are you
my god.
serious? They're advertising this as the 60th anniversary.
For Star Trek, yeah,
Yeah.
because the
See,
original
Dom,
Yeah,
series.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
there you go.
I guess what would they call that? Like y'all are the second act or something for that one? Who knows? But I've already booked my ticket, so I'm going out there for next February. Um I shall. All right. So
Have you done it before? Have you been on a cruise before?
nope, be my first one. I'm retiring at the end of this year, December 31st. And so that's kind of my retirement gift to myself.
Oh, lovely.
Awesome. You'll have fun. You'll have fun.
Thank you. And so, okay. How in the hell did you two get into this whole podcasting thing?
Oh,
Um,
go ahead.
quite well.
Oh,
It was during COVID. It was after I think maybe the second lockdown, and we were at Vegas, and
It was the first time we were allowed to be at a convention again.
it was, wasn't it? Yeah, we were waiting in the sort of bowels of the hotel to go outside because they were doing the photo ops in a tent because they thought that was safe.
And we had these plexiglass screens.
Yeah, and it was, you can imagine it was hot there. So we're in this tent. They got the wind machine going. It was extraordinary, really. Anyway, before we were going outside, we were taking respite in the inside aircon, and who was waiting there with us but Garrett Wong, who was enjoying some success, to say the least, with the Delta Flyers and Robbie Duncan McNeil, and we were yapping, and I kicked Connor on the heel and went, we should do something like that. And initially, Garrett said, "Well, it's a lot more work than you think it is," and blah blah blah. And anyway, that was all that was said about it at that time. Got in bed with 455, and
By the
yeah,
way, I think the decon chamber, which you should tell that story too.
oh, I want to hear that one.
I still
I
have
mean,
the. If you'll
oh
pardon,
yes. Oh, guys, he getting it?
where is it?
Is he getting it? The little
It's here
post-it note.
somewhere. I just saw it the other day. Wait a minute. Wow. Come on, Don. Where is it? I saw it here 2 seconds. Literally. Oh, well, that's so weird. It's on one of these post-it notes things.
Yep.
Hang on.
There
It's
you go. I
one
see
of
it.
those. But we were sitting in San Francisco. That's so weird. I literally saw it the other day. Did I put it somewhere safe? That's usually what I do. Put it somewhere safe, and then you can never find it again. Sitting at San Francisco, when we had to come up with a name, back and forth, oohing and ahhing, and then Sarah, my fiance, said to me, "Well, what was particular about your show that no other Star Trek, particularly the legacy versions, had that was utterly unique to Enterprise?" I was like, well, we had those decon chamber scenes, yeah, the decon. She went, "That's it, the decon chamber." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a genius."
Yeah. And then Dom passed over the.
I wrote it down on Sharpie because they were on the table, and I went, "Con, here's the name. What do you think of that?" And he goes, "That's pretty good."
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. It is good. It's a great name.
I can't believe I can't find it. There it is. There's the very article.
Oh my God, you still have it.
I still have it, baby.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
nice?
You need to put that in a frame, sir.
I will. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's a great story. And y'all have had great guests on the Decon Chamber.
We have. We've been fortunate.
I mean, I think it was when I interviewed because I've interviewed Katie already for my channel, and we were talking about it. And I mean, oh my God, season 1. I mean, you started with freaking Bill Shatner.
Jeez,
Mr. William Shatner.
I've got to live up to. Now what am I going to do?
That's
the hardest working man in show business.
The boss.
The man, and then you end it with y'all's boss.
And lest we forget, the Canada Dry Man himself. Finally, Mr. Scott Bakula. Thank you for coming on the show, mate. Yeah. It is such an honor to see you here. I thought I was going to get emotional, and I did.
Yeah.
Scott.
That was something. We hadn't seen Scott in a long time, and it was really lovely. And we're back in touch, and we went to see his boy play in his band, Phone Boy. They're called. They're really good. They're a Portland-based band, and they're bloody good. And they played at Genghis Cohen a few weeks after that, and we all hung out. And dare I say it, he's coming to the wedding.
Oh, good! Congratulations
with his wife Chelsea. And so it's nice to be back in touch because it's been a few years. You know, he went down to New Orleans for a long time to make NCIS down there. They kept telling him, you'll do a year down there, and then we'll bring it back to LA, and we'll just shoot the exteriors down there. And then that didn't happen. Yeah, even Scott Bakula gets around on.
Well, I love this. And I know it's true, but your story for what you did, how y'all got him on the show. I mean, well,
I just remember where he lived, and because we used to go to the Christmas party there regularly, and so yeah, I just wrote a letter and then put it in a big SAG envelope, the ones that the foreign residuals come in. And honestly, they feel thick and chunky. You know, oh yeah. And then you open it up, and it's got
$1.38.
$47.07. There's pages of it. I tell you what, if you're a Star Trek fan in Sweden, it's a good time to be alive. You'll get for peanuts. Anyway, I stuck the letter in that and shoved it under the gate. And I sort of, skim a stone. I sort of skimmed it under the gate to get it far up the drive as possible.
Well, the great thing about that too was that, we had tried for quite some time to get Scott on the show, and you access managers and agents and what have you, and none of that seemed to get any traction. And then Dom drove up and flicked that under the gate.
Scented it with some nice, And I wrote him a really nice letter, and I said, and look, God bless him. Do you know what? He emailed me within a day and a half, and it was all on. He's a mensch. He really is, and we can never say enough about having him as our leader.
Yeah,
our captain.
Bakula is a good human.
He really is. He's a real good guy, and he's an actor's actor. And he made those. I've said it so many times, but he made those years utterly joyous and fun. And when the guy at the top of the food chain, number one on the call sheet, isn't pulling any nonsense and stupid stuff, it's hard for the army underneath him to start doing that. But if the guy at the top's pulling that stuff, that permeates the set, and some sets are just miserable, man. I can't. There's some jobs I've gotten in. I just get in the car at the end of the day, and you can't wait to get away from the toxicity. And yeah, ego, man.
No. Well, and that's I had John Billingsley on. I interviewed him about 2 weeks ago, and I've already released his episode. And I asked him again how it was like working with Scott and everything, and he said basically the same thing. Well, he had a colorful statement first, and then he told the real story after that. Because oh yeah, it was so fun. And he said it was like you said, he was fun to be on the set with, but he also knew that you could joke with him, but also when it was time to be serious.
Yeah, you step up. You got to know your stuff. It's all very well. Yeah. And we were good. We were all pretty solid actors. And I mean, even God bless Linda, who was quite a novice, was actually a seasoned novice, and the rest of us, yeah, we'd done some stuff, and it was time for mucking about. I tell you what I always say, because on the bridge days when we were just doing ISA, whole plating's down 35%, sir. He's got monologues and to a screen with a C stand with a tennis ball on it, and me, Anthony, would just been around and having. I mean, literally, there were long days, man, just cracking jokes, and he never once. I can't even think of one time that he turned around to me and said, "For Christ's sakes, Dominic, shut up." Not once, and yeah, and you got to really tip your hat to that, because yeah.
So I something else John told me, and I really think he liked the screw with you, Dominic, the most at
Oh yeah.
times. I don't know about Connor. He didn't seem to. I don't think he pissed you off too often, but he would make sure that you were around. He told me so that he could sing his
Day
know,
off. Day off.
Yeah.
10 days off and the check still come. Sitting at home drinking beer in the sun. 10 days off and the check still come. Day off.
yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was fun when he was
But he
talking.
had to put all that on himself. So good luck to him. I did it twice, and that was enough. It was, yeah. My pissed off Irish skin did not like it one bit.
So, other than Shuttle Pod 1, which we know that was a great episode, which do either of you have an episode that you liked that just was like the best that for you, for like your character, that set off that you really liked the most, that stuck with you?
Janitor was, I think.
Well, I mean, I can list 5 or 6 in no particular order that I had a good luxury, I think, in listen, I had no idea that I was supposed to be part of this triumvirate. I just didn't. I had no idea. I thought I was Scotty and I was going to learn how to surf, and then I read the pilot and that just wasn't the case. And so pretty early on, I would say this about all of us. But I was given, enough rope to hang myself with on a few episodes that worked out. And so there were, over the course of our series, 5 or 6 specific episodes about Trip that I'm very proud of. So yeah, Shuttle Pod 1's starting there. That wasn't even Trip focus. That was this sort of random cheapy way to make an episode that Dominic spent so much work on, and I think it was because we spent so much work on it and had a connection as definitely as actors and probably as people, and it cemented our friendship too. That episode. And but we all had moments that were dynamic for all of us, and I got fortunate yeah, over the course of our series, I had 5 or 6 that I feel as though, if I had a mark to leave, it were those.
Cool. Dominic, how about yourself?
Well, Shuttlepod one was probably my best and biggest, moment in the sun. But I loved all the action stuff that Malcolm got to do. I liked that Section 31 storyline and being thrown in the brig and his,
I love that. I
I would
love that
imagine
storyline.
Dom, had we had, the extra 3 seasons,
yes, I think Malcolm would have got a good look.
it would have been explored
Correct.
more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
agreed. It's a shame that. But yeah, overall, I mean, we're looking at the show again now because we're actually doing some watch party stuff, which is rather fun. And the more I look at it, and I watched it all the first time through when we did the Shuttlepod show, but now on the second run, I mean, and I have a hard time looking at myself, I got to say, in anything, but I'm actually kind of going, you know what, mate, you were pretty bloody good, mate. With even though you weren't like first fiddle, you weren't the first violinist, but you certainly elbowed out, a nice character for yourself, and he's there. Malcolm's definitely he's there, and so
I'm trying to remember. Oh my god, I feel bad because we just watched it. Y'all just released it. Um, it was one of the episodes of one of the first ones when you got to sit in the captain's chair.
I think it's Civilization. We just looked at it recently. Yes, yeah.
And you, yeah, and thinking you were talking about that. You were in the big seat that time,
Hmm.
and you look good in it. It
Thank
fit
you.
well on you.
I remember Marvin Rush putting the camera. I'm going to give you a hero shot here.
It's interesting, in the watching this of, I guess this is my 1, 2, third iteration of watching this show. It's a very sort of micro element to it, but the people that got to sit in the chair for a moment in the first 15 episodes of our show, it's like a drinking game. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, it is. I mean, because everyone gets a go. I don't think Hoshi got in there, did she? No, I don't think so. No.
not
Not
yet,
in season
not yet.
one.
So Paul gets a go. You get a go. I got a go.
Anthony gets a go.
Anthony gets a go.
The doctor, not yet, but I'd be shocked to find at the end of the season that not everybody didn't get a chance.
Even in Dear Doctor, he doesn't just wander in there and sit there. He should have done. That would have been
That's next for us.
that would have been fantastic if he just went, I'm going to sit in the
Well,
captain's
we'll watch
chair.
it because Dom, Dear
Missed the moment
Dear
there.
Doctor is next for us.
It is, I know. I don't think he does, but I just thought that they missed the moment there. That could have been really funny. I'm going to go and sit in the captain's chair just to kill a few minutes.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Eat a
That's
celery
funny.
or a carrot.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Leave a denobulum fart.
Oh my god. Well, guys, I have got 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna let you get the rest of your afternoon. And this next one, you can thank Larry Nemechek for giving me this idea. Is there just any story in general, Star Trek, whatever that you've never really that no one's ever asked that you but to share with the audience? I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Honest to God, after all this time, no.
It's all been said, hasn't it? Really?
Listen, I think that one of the things that both Dom and I bring to any environment that involves fans or podcasts that we've been involved with, you're hearing them. You've heard all that. You've heard the stories, and that's what I think. At least, I feel as though when I talk about my experience on Enterprise and my experience as an actor who's had the great fortune to be a part of these conventions for all of these years and these experiences. Yeah, man, you asked me a question specifically because that's not a specific question, mister. Ask me a specific, I'll answer you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of there are stories, but there's not one I've not told. I don't think. I mean, I can't think of one that I've not told. I mean, they've all been said. I mean, and I'll say this. When my mum died, that family, Mary Howard, arranged my mum's funeral from the offices at Paramount, and they rejiggered that script for that week and shot me out in 3 or 4 days and put me on a plane. And she'd done it all. She'd rung the funeral service people. The whole thing was, I didn't have to do anything, God bless. And I can tell you, to this day, that just I'll never forget that kindness, and it made a very, very difficult time a lot easier. And that was our set. There we go. That was Enterprise.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it reiterates the idea that it's a family.
it really was. And a lot of that crew had been together for 17 years already.
Yeah.
And they were so accommodating and so welcoming. And you get 7 other egos coming in onto set like they're all and but they never once sort of said, cool your boots, kid. They were just great. And I miss
awesome.
it. They were halcyon salad days. They really were.
Well,
Last
that's awesome.
question.
Last question. What Star Trek technology do you wish existed today?
I wouldn't mind the transporter, I gotta say.
Are you kidding me? The transporter. Hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down.
I want to go home for a couple of hours. Beep. Oh, I left my whatever.
Exactly.
You'd have to.
I'm late for dinner.
Yeah.
Damn right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for giving me your time today.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
I can't say thank you enough. So,
and thank you for being a part of everything we're doing here on the Decon Chamber. It means a great deal to us. That
it really does. For those of you who don't know, Chris is our biggest Patreon member, and I hope some of you follow suit and start supporting this show in as little a way as you possibly can, financially speaking. We need your help, and not to end on a sour note, but we're struggling a bit.
Well, listen, you know what? We're cheaper than eggs.
We are cheaper than eggs. There you go.
Well, and I'm glad you said that. I forgot.
The Decon Chamber, cheaper than eggs.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God.
It's brilliant.
That is. What's called?
Yeah. Bring that one in. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
See you in Vegas.
I won't be there.
You won't be there? All right.
But I'll be in Chicago.
I will see you in Chicago.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you on the cruise next year.
That's right.
See you on the cruise.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Talk to y'all later.
Nanu.
Nanu.
For as little as $5 per month, you can gain early access to the full ad-free versions of all interviews, plus additional exclusive content by joining Patreon.